WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. A Caledonia High School teacher resigns after allegations of sexual misconduct with students. Lowndes County detectives say they learned of the alleged incidents this past Friday. Investigators say not all of the reported instances happened in Lowndes County.
That's right, Joey. Some of the reported incidents happened in another county in the state. While on school activities, no names have been released. Lowndes County School Superintendent Lynn Wright says the district cannot comment on a personnel matter. That investigation is continuing.
The reward for a Rankin County man is now up to $22,500. The announcement comes as law enforcement expand the list of charges against Alex Bridges Deaton.
Deaton has been the subject of a nationwide manhunt since Friday when his girlfriend was found murdered in her Rankin County apartment. He's now the prime suspect in another homicide, the killing of 68-year-old Brenda Pinter at Dixon Baptist Church in Neshoba County last Thursday. Investigators also believe Deaton was the shooter who injured a jogger in a shooting early Friday morning.
Mr. Deaton has killed one person, has shot at another, is a suspect in a murder in Philadelphia. We want to be able to apprehend him before he harms anyone else. We do not believe he's in the area.
Deaton is considered armed and dangerous. Anyone who has any information on his whereabouts is urged to contact the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation or the Rankin County Sheriff's Office.
Now, investigators can issue a manhunt at local, state, and national levels.
They all share one thing in common: time, money, and law enforcement teamwork. WCBI's Jory Talley sits down with one local sheriff who talks about some of those efforts.
It all begins like pieces of a puzzle.
We start out close here in our county, and then, we work through phone records and electric bills and family members and informants, and somebody leaves our jurisdiction, and we have to kind of start following them up and try to get as close to them as we can until we make an arrest.
Searching for a suspect is an around-the-clock job, and investigators don't stop until the wanted person is found.
Our job doesn't stop at 5 o'clock, and a lot of times our cases are worked through the night. We have officers that are up sometimes 2 or 3 days at a time. When you're hot on a lead, especially on a manhunt, and you have to stay on that phone, and we're talking back and forth by radio or by the computer.
Chickasaw County Sheriff James Myers says social media, along with news reports, make a big difference when it comes to manhunts. Law enforcement also has more technology and resources. A BOLO, which stands for Be on the Lookout, now can be sent out faster and reach more people.
Anything that comes across the machine, our dispatchers put out BOLOs sometimes several times a day. If somebody sends in a BOLO from a surrounding county or something from another county where we're looking for a vehicle or a certain individual, we put it out to all our deputies, and that's updated daily.
Myers says manhunts happen a lot. Investigators take each search seriously.
A manhunt like going on now to Rankin County, that's like top of the line. You're looking for a murder suspect, but it could be as small as somebody not showing up for court, and the judge issues a bench warrant, or somebody failing to pay their child support.
The Chickasaw County Sheriff's Department has worked small and large-scale manhunts, including one from several years ago when a murder suspect fled to California.
A lot of hours, a lot of man hours, and we ended up locating him in Los Angeles, and they went and made an arrest for us, and then we had to extradite him back, all the way from the West Coast. So it just shows you, we can reach out, and a lot of agencies will help you when you need them. They'll be there.
Now, Myers says when there's a manhunt, citizens can help by paying attention to the description of the suspect and what that person was last seen driving. He says never approach a suspect and instead call law enforcement.
New at 6, Derek Bankhead's capital murder trial is continued in Lowndes County Circuit Court. Bankhead was convicted last September in Lowndes County. However, Judge Lee Coleman overturned that verdict. Bankhead's attorney learned that District Attorney Scott Colomb was a stand-in defense attorney for Bankhead during a preliminary hearing in 2011. Columbus police say Bankhead's cousin, Eddie Bankhead, was shot during an armed robbery back in July 2011. The State Attorney General's office is prosecuting the case.
Two people are facing charges after state troopers find more than 4,000 doses of ecstasy in a car Friday night. The Mississippi Highway Patrol reporting those troopers arrested two people at a traffic stop on Interstate 22 in Union County. 26-year-old Christopher Cohen of Memphis and Denicia Jackson of South Haven. The two are facing felony drug trafficking charges. They're both in the Union County Jail tonight.
Macon police need your help finding two accused thieves that went on a shopping spree. This is video from Lowe's in Meridian. Investigators believe this duo took a wallet from a Macon business owner back on December 22nd. Some of the credit cards were used at the home improvement store and Toys R Us in Meridian. Several items were purchased by the woman and men. If you have any information, call Golden Triangle Crime Stoppers. Time now to turn our attention to weather. Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson joins us with your first look. Keith?
Hey, Joy, right now, just a few blips showing up with our live Doppler radar. You can see a few of those blips moving into the Columbus area, so perhaps a light shower, maybe a little bit of drizzle. We were watching some activity back to the west that has really fallen apart. In Columbus right now, we are overcast, 57 degrees, winds from the southeast at about 6 miles per hour, and 50s across the entire board for the most part, but a little bit warmer just off to our south. We will see our temperatures hold steady during the evening hours, primarily mid-50s, and then we will rise into the 50s, or 60s rather late. There could be a few showers, 70s tomorrow, more in just a few minutes.
All right, Keith, thanks a lot. If you stop to eat in Winona, you're helping the town make some noticeable improvements. There's now a 2% tourism tax added to food served in restaurants.
In just 5 months, the city has been able to make major improvements to the public park, which in turn has attracted more sports tournaments. WCBI's Selena Schaefer joins us live in the studio with more. Selena?
Andre and Joey, Winona Mayor Jerry Flowers says that when they first implemented the tourism tax, he hoped it would be successful, but he never imagined it would be this big of an impact.
Done a lot of gravel work on the parking lots and the roads out there and laid a bunch of new sod in places where, it was washing out, and that's helped a lot, and ordered a lot of nice new garbage cans and picnic tables and benches and that type stuff, and looking into some bleacher canopies now to put over the bleachers for shade and head protection as well.
And on the list goes. These improvements are all made possible thanks to the 2% tourism tax on prepared foods implemented back in October. Mayor Jerry Flowers and Parks and Recreations Director Mike Narmore have been working together to improve the parks so that more teams play tournaments here. Since October, the mayor says the city's received a little over $45,000. That's around $14,000 each month, and they expect that amount to grow.
It really helps the local economy immensely. I mean, even people down here at the Pizza Inn downtown and the tracks, they really love when we have teams here, because Mike had over 50 teams 2 weekends ago. And that's a lot of people that come in here. There's well over 1,000 people here, and that's huge.
They say people are already noticing the progress.
We've had 2 tournaments over the last 2 weekends, and people that's played there over the last several years have really bragged on how the difference is made already, and we will continue to make improvements out there with it.
Currently, the city is applying for a Dizzy Dean grant to help even more.
A grant up to $5,000 to help with park improvements for the towns that play and support Dizzy Dean, and they were gracious enough to grant it to us last year, and I'm going to keep my fingers crossed we're lucky enough to get it again this year.
Now, Narmore says that the arson that took place almost 2 weeks ago at the park has set them back a bit. The fire occurred on February 11th and burned down the park's pavilion and public restrooms. Narmore says that those costs weren't obviously in the budget, and now that money that they were planning for other projects will have to go towards the repair. No arrests have been made yet, and the police chief asked that anyone with any information to come forward.
All right, Selena Schaefer in our studio with that story. Well, efforts to find more money for Mississippi roads hit a dead end.
We look into the latest legislative traffic jam after the break.
Watching WCBI News at 6 with Andrea Self and Joey Barnes.
Welcome back. The Transportation Commissioner for North Mississippi says the legislature's refusal to increase funding for road and bridge work and repair is a public safety issue and has a negative impact on the state's economy. North Mississippi Transportation Commissioner Mike Taggart says the current level of transportation funding has not increased in 30 years. Taggart says there's funding available for projects as part of a 5-year plan, but he points out that many are overdue projects for roads and bridges across the state that cannot be funded. He says it's not a partisan issue, but an issue of public safety and economics.
And that's our message, is that these are not issues that are related to a political party or anything else for that matter. These are issues of matters of public safety. All of us are concerned about public safety. All of us are concerned about economic development. And unfortunately, when you have bad roads and bad bridges, it restricts a community's ability in order to recruit manufacturing. It restricts their ability to bring in new job opportunities.
An 18.4 cent per gallon fuel tax funds road and bridge work statewide. That hasn't increased since 1987, while costs for materials and labor have risen significantly.
That money won't come from an internet sales tax. Mississippi lawmakers say today the proposed tax will not become law. Senate leaders say they now think the bill is unconstitutional, citing a 1992 U.S. Supreme Court decision. Lawmakers have said they would have sent the money toward road and bridge repairs. The bill would have required some companies to collect a 7% tax on online sales in Mississippi.
Well, the first day of scheduled work on a median and signal improvement project on Highway 12 in Starkville was a washout. The phase runs between Old Highway 12 and Eckford Drive. It was scheduled for today through November 8th of this year. To avoid any major traffic issues, a good portion of that construction will take place at night. The Starkville Police Department will be providing Mississippi Department of Transportation updates as the project progresses.
Well, tomorrow's Fat Tuesday. Maybe you're going down to New Orleans to live it on up. Things are looking pretty nice weather-wise. Look at this. Upper 70s by noon, low 80s during the afternoon, 70s late in the evening hours. For us, we are warm, but we also are looking at some storms for Wednesday. More after the break.
Your first alert weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
All right, here's our Alpha Insurance time lapse from downtown Tupelo. Now, this really shows you how the atmosphere works. We have low-level clouds moving from south to north. We have upper-level clouds coming in from west to east. So that's how the atmosphere is usually moving in different directions throughout the atmosphere. And often that gives us some active weather, and we may see some of that by Wednesday morning. Now, this morning and even this afternoon, we had some heavy rain in the region. Some spots here northwest of Tupelo, there you see the darker greens and the yellows, 1 to 2+ inches of rain. In Tupelo, about 6/10 of an inch. Down into the Golden Triangle area, same story, about a 1/2 inch, but farther south towards Winston, Noxubee counties, even down towards the Neshoba and Kemper counties into the 1 to 1.5 inch range estimated by our friendly Doppler radar. But the heavy rain now is to our southeast, and just a few spotty sprinkles here in our area. There are some additional storms out here in northwest Arkansas. Those are moving northeast. They will not affect our area, but also out there in Texas too. So there may be still some additional showers that tend to flare up later tonight into tomorrow, especially in our northern and western counties, but nothing strong, nothing severe here in the near term. The greater threat for severe weather will actually be to our northwest tomorrow and tomorrow night here in Arkansas, maybe northwest Tennessee and Missouri. The system coming our way will get close closer by Wednesday morning, and that will give rise to a chance for some strong to severe storms around here. You see this, Category 3, an enhanced risk for some severe weather. This would be Wednesday. At this point, it's looking more like a damaging straight-line wind threat with a line of storms that could come on through here from mid-morning through about early afternoon. The tornado threat, the hail threat, not zero, but pretty low here with the setup. Flooding risk fairly low as well. So at this point, that's what we're concerned about Wednesday morning. Here's Futurecast showing the general quiet regime right now, but there could be a few showers here later tonight and tomorrow morning for the commute, especially to the northwest. As we get into tomorrow afternoon, warm southerly breezes. We're back into the mid to upper 70s. And again, you can't rule out a few spotty showers, but a lot of us will be staying dry. By Wednesday morning, there's the front, there's that line of showers and storms that will move through during the day, or at least during the mid to late morning and early afternoon. And right along that boundary is where we could get a few of those stronger storms. Right now, fairly stable. We're in the 50s. Look at the 70s just off to our southwest. And we will be warming up nicely tomorrow into the low 70s by noon, likely mid to upper 70s during the course of the afternoon. So about 77 degrees, a pretty good average. Tupelo, Columbus, some spots could do about 80 degrees. So here's our 7-day forecast. You can see we are warm through Wednesday. Cool but sunny Thursday, Friday. Pretty nice for the weekend. Some spots, though, by Thursday night, Friday night, back into the 30s.
All right, Keith, thanks a lot. Mississippi State locks up Dan Mullen for more years and more cash. The details on the extension next in sports.
WCDI Sports with Tom Ebel is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
4 more years for Dan Mullen. Mississippi State locks up the head football coach at a new extension through February 2021 worth $4.5 million. Mullen has led the Bulldogs to a school record 7 straight bowl games. Thanks for joining us here on WCBI Sports. The regular season is over in SEC women's hoops, and now the stage is set to decide who will be this year's SEC tournament champion. The way the tournament is set up, there's a chance we could see round 3 of Egg Bowl hoops on the women's side. The setup in Greenville, South Carolina, with Ole Miss's win over Texas A&M Sunday. They received the first round bye and will prepare for Thursday's game against LSU. LSU won the first matchup in Oxford 62-51. The winner of that game will face 2-seed Mississippi State on Friday at 5 p.m. The Bulldogs dropped its last 2 of the regular season and will look to push back to being the number 1 seed for March Madness. Both teams say they're looking forward to preparing for the big tournament this week.
For us, we had 7 championships at the beginning of the year that we could win. This is the first one now that it's out of the equation. Okay, we won 3 championships early in the year in those tournaments that we played in. We've lost this one. Now we've got another one we can go win in South Carolina this week. And that's so we got to refocus and go try to make that happen.
I challenged our team. We just gave up 100 on Thursday night. I said, if y'all do that again, I'm going to go insane. And they come out and played hard defensively. No matter what happens at the SEC tournament, whether if we win it or we don't, we're still going to be playing in the postseason. That's a major accomplishment considering where we started 4 years ago.
Sticking in college hoops, the finalists are announced for the 2017 Gillum and Howell trophies for the best men's and women's basketball player in Mississippi. Mississippi State sophomore Quindary Weatherspoon and Ole Miss double-double machine Sebastian Saiz are named finalists for the Howell Trophy. Hale State hoop star Victoria Vivians and Morgan Williams are nominated as Gillum finalists as well. Vivians looking to become the first 3-time winner of the award. The award will be announced on March 6th, coming up in the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame. Well, we'll get to this action coming up tonight at 10. Want to give a big congrats to the South Lamar Stallions for advancing to the 1A state championship over in Alabama. They'll be facing off against Sacred Heart, who's back-to-back defending state champs over in Alabama. We'll have all the highlights from the big game from South Lamar over in Birmingham. We'll have all those highlights coming up tonight on WCBI Sports at 10. Make sure you tune in, and that'll do it for your sports for right now. Have a last look at weather coming up after the break.
Temperatures right now smack dab in the mid-50s. We'll be hanging out here all evening long. As we get into tomorrow, though, we will warm from the low 60s to the mid and upper 70s. There could be a few showers around later tonight and tomorrow. If we're going to get strong storms this week, probably Wednesday morning, so we're focusing on that day, but still not a major episode for seeing at this point. cooler, sunnier weather for the end of the work week and the weekend. We just had a nice weekend.
We did.
The next one coming up is looking pretty good.
Going to have another one. Fantastic.
Fantastic. So I'm wearing rain boots today. I should wear them again Wednesday.
Yeah, that would be a good suggestion.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Always
And
good
then
to know
plenty
the
of-
fashion forecast.
And then
It
plenty of
is.
sunscreen later this week.
I can do that too.
All right, thanks, Keith, and thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Have a great night.
Good night.